Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft. Joining me, as always, the esteemed runner-up of season 4 of American Idol, Seth Martin. Seth, how are you doing, my friend?
So steamed, so idled. Doing well. I'm here. I'm ready for the show. I think it's gonna be a good one this week.
If you were to try out for American Idol, what song would you sing at your audition?
You want something with some range, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get something real, like heartfelt from Les Mis.
Oh, I
Just
thought you were going to go Music of the Night from Phantom of the Opera.
I struggle with a couple of those notes. I don't want to break any copyright laws. It's probably as far as I can go, right?
Yeah, that's that's
Couple
that's as far.
notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise it'll get auto detected thinking that we got the actual shit, Antonio Banderas to do it. Didn't he do the movie?
Mm,
Wasn't he the Phantom in the movie? One of
that
the
was
movie
Gerard
versions?
Butler.
Was it Gerard Butler?
Yeah, it was Gerard Butler.
Mm, I thought Antonio Banderas did.
He kinda had he had a little Antonio Banderas look to him, in that Joel Schumacher movie, especially when I think one of the plays they put on, one of the operas is from Spain, like Don Juan, and, so yeah, he's kinda got the slick back Banderas look going on.
Okay, he did okay, I'm not crazy. There is a very popular video of him singing The Phantom of the Opera with Sarah Brightman. Um
Oh, yeah, you're right, actually, now that you say that, I remember that, but
it
it wasn't
wasn't
a
the
movie
movie.
version.
Yeah, I was just conflating two different Phantom of the Opera uh medias there. So
A little conflation, no big deal.
okay. All right. Well, anyway, this is Rival Banter. We get together every week over here on twitch.tv/it is Hoagie and talk about all things Marvel Rivals and then push it out on podcast services and YouTube the very next day. Wherever you're listening to us, we thank you. We love you. And make sure you're following us and commenting and liking and subscribing. We're going to get to some user comments and stuff here in just a moment. But Seth, how's your you've had a full week of summer and all that now. So how are things going for you?
Loving every minute of it. My wife confronted me the other day and said, like, all you've done since you've been home is play games, and that's not true. But it's a solid impression. Like I've definitely been putting some time in. Either between rivals or catching up on some of my backlog things. Like I finally finished the main quest of Avowed yesterday, so I'm done with that. Got it off my Xbox hard drive. I'm ready for Doom. I'm ready for Claire Obscure, Clara, however you say it, Expedition 33. Awesome name. Just kind of working my way through and playing the Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection that I've owned for like 2 months and just haven't installed to my PlayStation. I finally put that in and I've been messing around with that a little bit. So yeah, I'm loving it. I went back to work. I'm doing a summer camp a couple days this week. Like I'm teaching a class on Marvel and Star Wars, and then another one's an esports class where they just pretty much like I bring a PlayStation and a couple switches in a duffel bag. They have a PC room there, and we just set them loose, let them explore. And yeah, so staying a little busy. I'm getting a little bit more productive now. I'm mowing yards and stuff, but definitely have been trying to catch up on my entertainment.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're getting your gaming backlog pared down and stuff. We also played a ton of Rivals, which we'll get to here in a little bit too. So
Comparatively, yeah, for sure.
all right, well, let's get to some community comments from our last episode. Again, if you guys want to have a chance to get your comments read, make sure wherever you're engaging with our content, whether that's on YouTube, on Spotify, on our Instagram or TikTok accounts at Rival Banter, leave your comments there, and we might select yours to respond to. Dallywag00 over on Spotify says, "I'll be honest. As a wannabe Black Widow, I thought she was forgotten about, and losing the Hawkeye team up would be crippling. But honestly, the Punisher team up is way better than the last one. And because of the changes to other characters and the addition of a new flyer and seeing these flying comps, which she's always been pretty good against, she's kind of a sleeper pick." Seth, thoughts on that?
If you talked to me about that a week ago, even after we talked about the new team ups and stuff like that, I'd said you're out of your mind, Dallywag. But or is it Daily Wag? Something like. Sorry if we're mispronouncing that. I'll call you Double O from now on.
Yeah, there you go.
Double O, you're exactly right. Punisher, I mean, as long as you've got good aim, he's got that kind of hit scan fire where, like he is definitely a way to kind of pick like, an Ultron out of the back line flying around up there. And even the same thing. What exactly, Luke, do you remember what the team up is with Black Widow?
I mean, it
That
basically
they
gives
just
you like
added?
a rail gun that'll pierce through multiple enemies.
Hmm.
With her primary fire. There's also I've seen some videos of some like advanced tech that you can do with her, where there's like some animation cancel that you can do for like her reload between shots and stuff like that, so you can get a little bit of like a faster rate of fire and things like that. So
Hmm.
so I'm seeing some stuff where Black Widow is maybe crawling a little bit higher up the tier list, but again, it's dependent on what you're going up against. It's dependent on having that Punisher team up as well. But yeah, it's better than it was.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm shocked and I'm impressed. I haven't wanted to play her anymore, but I've seen a lot more Black Widow in action, at least in the quick play scene that I have in a long, long time. So, great, good for her.
She's kind of, we were talking with Larry last night, who's been playing with us, and I'm hoping to get him on an episode of this show at some point since he's been playing
Hell
with
yeah.
us again. But he was, we had a guy who was playing Bucky on our team and was kind of popping off, and he was like, "I thought you guys told me that like Bucky was kind of falling off," and I was like, "Well, he's still one of those characters where if you can hit your shots, like he can be, he's still good, right?" And I think one of the issues with Black Widow is that she's never been that character, right? She's not one of those characters that, hey, the rest of her kit, no matter what you do with her, as long as you can hit your shot, she's still viable. Like, um, and so I think with the Punisher team up and the buffs that she got as a result of that, she is kind of now in that place where it's like, okay, ignoring the rest of her kit, if you can hit shots with this and take advantage of some of that, uh, the mechanical nuances within with like the animation cancels and stuff like that, then yeah, she can be viable too. But yeah, not you're not going to be carried by her kit. You better be able to just hit shots.
Yeah.
All right. Next comment is a comment and a reply. This is Roy Chiltern over on YouTube, responding to us talking about the Jeffrey work. Says making excuses for turning a fun character into boring trash. Dot dot dot. Sad. Talking about us. And then Red Baronisa replied and said, "I haven't played him since the update. I heard about the changes. I'm not gonna play him anymore." And Seth, I got to be honest. I feel like the Jeff rework is one of those where if there was a very specific kind of Jeff player, this is the reaction that you were going to get, and everybody else is like, "Hey, the Jeff stuff's pretty cool." You've been playing a lot of Jeff lately. I mean, we'll talk more about it here in a bit, but do you agree with this?
With Red.
Did it turn Jeff into boring trash?
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm not exactly sure what Roy means there. But I've been having a blast. I played him way more than I have in a while. I mean, he's fun before. I don't know that he was necessarily always the most like viable competitively. But I feel like his like healing numbers have just and his healing potential is just skyrocketed. And the fact that you can do damage too with that primary fire, I'm loving every second with Jeff. Like I'm putting in tons more work with him now than I have since the game, first launched and everybody was going crazy over him. So I'm very much a fan of this. I haven't really seen a lot of people say negative things. What about on your end, Luke?
Yeah, I think the Jeff changes are good for a multitude of reasons. I think everything that you just said is great. I think his healing's a lot better. I think the damage that he does, in like the big meatball fights feels good too when he's like shooting through your team and damaging the team on the other side of you. It also just gives you a level of expectation as to what you're going to get from somebody when they lock in a Jeff now too, right? It used to be if somebody locked in a Jeff, it's like, okay, is this Jeff going to be a guy that's healing us, or is it going to be a guy who's like we see him in the spawn room and then we don't see him again for the rest of the game because he's just in the back
Backline,
line,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I like that they've added that like level of what's the word I'm looking for? Like not expectancy, but I know what I'm getting, right? When
Okay, yeah, yeah. And I think there's a new version of that, which kind of goes along with what TED Talks says in the next comment.
Go ahead, read it for us.
Um, so he says, I've had to deal with Jeffs and Ultrons on my team all day in ranked. Why do people insist on trying to figure out new characters playing? And I'm guessing he's saying
Ranked.
like specifically in ranked,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I think that's kind of the new issue that we're running into is everybody's trying to play Ultron because he's new, right? He's fresh and hot. And everybody's playing Jeff because again, he is way more competitively viable now. But however, this is why I have not taken Jeff into comp yet because I'm not used to playing Jeff, and so like I'm sure that you've noticed as I'm playing right that I tend to die a little bit more than I will on like a cloak and dagger or somebody like that, just because I'm not quite as used to the mobility that Jeff has, or at least to his specific mobility. And same thing like just as you're getting used to anybody's kit, but like I think I'm like at the high end of agent right now, like the very first rank of and on the way to Lord. So I don't have a ton of time on him. And he definitely feels way different to play now than he did, you know, just last week, right? And it's been a while for me. So I feel like there's probably a lot of that out there right now. And I definitely agree with Ted. Like, you know, y- there's nothing wrong with experimenting with characters. Like, you definitely should. But that's kind of what quick plays for. You want to bring your best, if at all possible, to a comp match.
Yeah. I feel like Overwatch used to do this thing where in between seasons there was a couple days before competitive would start. Do you remember this?
Yeah, yeah.
Um and I guess I get it from like a publisher's point of perspective where it's like you're going to have a certain percentage of your player base who's just like not interested in quick play, who's like just not going to play for those couple days where competitives not available, which is why you just roll it into the next season. But I get that frustration, and you and I make a conscious decision to kind of stay away from ranked for a couple days until all that shit kind of settles out. My metric is when I'm getting into quick play games and I'm not seeing as many Instalock Ultrons is when I start feeling like okay, I can maybe safely navigate into a ranked match. What would you think about them adding some kind of a quick play minimum for each season before you can jump into ranked? Like, hey, you need to play 10 quick play matches before you unlock ranked again for season 2.5.
I mean, I think something like that's cool. I don't know what the number would be. 10. I mean, sounds like a nice, solid number,
It
but
might be high, but
yeah,
yeah.
might be high, might be low. 10 quick plays, it goes by like that. Um, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have some kind of buffer like that, just to kind of like force people to kind of take a break, to kind of reconnect with the game, re-feel it out. Um, but again, I'm sure there's some metric, some way to kind of determine how to get that all sorted out.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm just spitballing here.
Sure.
um, we also posted up a short about flying tanks coming to the game and got some suggestions. Got a lot of suggestions actually, but I included a few that were some of the most popular. The first being Modoc, um, and that was
Love
from
that.
that was
Love
from
that.
yeah, that was from what? I don't know a lot about Modoc except he's just a giant head.
Just a big giant ass head with some tiny little baby legs and little baby arms. They're probably regular sized people arms, but he's just got a big old head. He's back there on my shelf somewhere, like kind of in the back
Yeah, I
of
see him right there on the
mine.
chair.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know how much of like an actual fighter he is, but I would love to see him in the game. I'm sure he could have like some kind of tech centric abilities. Um, and of course, like he's a big giant head, so he could just be kind of like a big giant damage sponge. He could probably have some like self protective shielding, kind of like a techie overshield or something. I love that. Modoc, kind of not necessarily a deep cut character anymore, but probably used to be. Somebody that would be just kind of like just weird enough and fun enough to really make the game pop a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to balance a flying tank, there's got to be a couple things. Number one, you can't give him too much individual shielding for himself. Like, can't give him too much like overhealth to have to cut through in order to like chip away at him. And you have to give him a gigantic hitbox. And I think MODOK gives you that, right? Like
Yeah.
everything's a headshot on him, like
Mm-hmm.
100% crit on anything that lands on him. And then you just, give him a bunch of like shielding tech for his cooldowns that he can give to other people who are in the sky. And then give him some like, some slow moving projectiles for his primary fire or something like that, so that he's not super oppressive offensively in the sky too. I think something like that could be cool. The question is like, how do you make a flying tank, both balanced to play against but also fun to play? And it's like, that's where the rubber meets the road, because you also have ideas like M Sing and multiple others mentioned, which is Silver Surfer, who they said make him the fastest flyer with the ability to use his board as a shield. And I like the idea of Silver Surfer as a flying tank, but I don't like the idea of them being the fastest flyer. I don't think you can have a flying tank that also has insane movement speed.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, you would have to balance that out, I guess, with his fighting ability, his combat, style, how much damage he puts out, maybe. But I like the idea of having a mobile tank. I just, you've got to be careful, like you said, with the balance, how things shake out.
Some other ones I saw, and I didn't include them here. Angel was one of the ones that I saw, which I thought could be cool, using like the wings as shields and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, or like Archangel, maybe something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And then who's the character from the new movie?
Which new movie? From Thunderbolts?
Yeah. Name some of the characters from Thunderbolts.
Sentry?
Yeah, Sentry's one of the
Okay.
ones I saw.
Okay.
Quite a few people, and I had to ask because I was like, "Look, I think I commented. I was like, Luke here, the host that knows nothing about lore. Please tell me who Sentry is." So, would Sentry make a good flying tank?
I think so. I mean, he could be one of those that could either be DPS or a tank. I think tank because he's technically like he's like the Superman of the Marvel universe. He's the strongest out there. You could argue Squirrel Girl, or some kind of odd and end characters could be because of just things they've done in the past. But he's like the guy. But he's kind of flawed in some ways. I think there's some cool ult possibilities with him too. Like again, he's super tough. So he could soak up a lot of damage. He kind of has this alter ego he shifts into sometimes that could kind of be a cool ult possibility. You could probably play around with that Void character that he kind of like has going on in the background too. Watch Thunderbolts; it'll make a lot more sense. But yeah, I think that Sentry's an awesome idea.
Awesome. And then the last comment from Lifted Blader, I can't even tell you what video this was a comment on, just says, "Give Thing a Glock." And
it's a solid strategy. It goes with a trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing he's missing, it's ranged attacks. So let's
Mm-hmm.
give it to him. All right. If you guys want to have your comments read, make sure wherever you're watching our videos that you're leaving your comments, and we might select one of them. But we appreciate everybody who engages with our content wherever you're seeing it. So, all right, Seth, let's move on to our week in Rivals. I feel like we spent most of our week in Rivals together, but what did you get up to in game?
Yeah. Still a lot of quick play. I definitely want to start playing more competitive. It's just finding the time. But a lot of quick play, a lot of working through like the season 2.5 events. I think that first night we played was the first night of the season, or at least the mid season. And I think I knocked out all of my, the first set of that gala challenge, just in an hour or so of playing. So been a lot of fun. I've been looking through like a lot of the new skins and stuff like that, the ones that are coming out. I'm sure we'll talk about here, in a little bit. Just having a blast. I love just when they start to mix things up like this. Just playing around with new stuff. It's like Christmas, and it happens every 2 or so months, something like that, right?
And it's about to happen every month. Starting in
Hell
season
yeah.
3, which is a crazy cadence. But yeah, we played a lot of quick play, and we also got our buddy Larry back into the game, which I'm pretty excited about. even though he's a slimy DPS insta locker. Uh, but yeah, fun to queue up together. How far are you? And we'll talk more about the content of it and like the design of it. But how far are you in your combat chest?
I'm a little bit behind you. I haven't. I think I'm one away from the mood, whatever
Gotcha.
you call them, the emojis. So I think I want to say I'm on level 11 of it, something like that.
Yeah, I think I just unlocked last night the Mr. Fantastic emote, the like one where he's like twisting. So,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm progressing through it pretty quickly, but it was cheap and it's cool to just have another thing to get through.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like something you can finish in a day or two. You've gotta put some time in, and I mean, you're just playing the game. They're not specific challenges along with it. So I mean, it's fun. It's something extra. It's there. I'm glad to throw $5-6 whatever it was towards something like that. As long as it's not like every week, like a something like that. Although I don't know, I could probably pay it. Who the hell knows? But I'm a sucker for stuff like that myself.
um, and let's see, I got Centurion on Emma Frost now, so almost have my first tank lord, which will be fun.
Mhm.
And then I'm literally like 20 points away from my Mantis Lord. I just need to play. I keep getting it so many games where I'm like, I'm just gonna fill, and it's a lot harder to find a game where you need a support than it is to find a game where uh you need
Where
a
you need a
tank.
tank.
So
Yeah, I forget if I mentioned it on the show. I know I mentioned when I got the Thing Lord, but I did get Manus Lord. I don't know if that was on last week's show or if that happened this
oh
week.
no, I
It's
think that
somewhere.
happened this week. Yeah. So you
Okay,
got
so
three
yeah, I've
lord.
got
That's
my
your third lord now, right?
third Lord. I've got Cloak and Dagger. I've got Thing, and I've got Mantis, and I'm hours away from getting Thor. It's just like I don't know. I feel like he's a lot. His is going to be a lot easier to get now because where they changed his kit
Mm-hmm.
up a little bit. You can recharge his Thor force so much faster. One of the steps in his mastery is that you have to get like or refill 600 Thor force. You like so 600 of those hammers, and that's just worth like 50 points at Centurion. So like but that's like one fourth of what you have to do, right? Like play 60 minutes, yada yada yada. So this kind of like I definitely build a lot more Thor Force with him. So I know that Lordship is coming here soon. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of in the back line working on my mag, trying to get him up to Centurion. I'm almost there with him, and then just kind of been starting to play Jeff this week. So yeah, there's always something to do. I love it.
Yeah, I think Mag's probably my next closest, and then yeah, I started playing a little bit of Hulk this week, and dude, Hulk is so dependent on not that other tanks aren't, but Hulk is so dependent on just having good supports that are paying attention to where you're at in the fight. And I
Has
also
that
need to
kind of
be
thing too a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I also just need to be better about knowing like when to get out and like being more aware of when I'm receiving healing.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I tend to just like kind of get lost in the fight in the back line, and then I'm like, oh shit, I need to get out. And by that point, I'm already in my animation turning into Bruce Banner. But uh no, I don't know, and we'll talk more about season 2.5 when we get to our main topic of the show. But I'm having a lot more fun with the game now than I was in season 2 for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on why that is.
I think a lot of it has to do with our boy getting back into the game, our boy Larry Hunt. Um, I that just having a third person in there, like I feel like the closer you get to a full
Mhm.
squad, especially a full squad of like people that you know well, and people that are around your own age, it's just a lot of fun. So I'm definitely here for it. I'm still waiting on some of my teacher friends to climb up a little bit higher so we can play a little bit more. Just a scheduling thing when you reach adulthood, like that's the hardest thing about being social, is just like finding the time to sit down and play the shit together. So
Mhm.
um anytime we can make it happen, it just feels good.
But I'm also finding myself playing more like solo queue, just by myself. I'll just hop on and you know kind of grind out some games and stuff like that too. So
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe the game just has its hooks back in me, and yeah. So, maybe there's nothing really more to that. But all right, Seth. Well, let's move on to our draft this week. Last week we drafted the Lord portraits that we trust the least. I figure let's throw some positivity out there and talk about the
Mm-hmm.
Lord portraits that we trust the most. So we're going to draft the
Mm.
3 Lord portraits that we trust the most, the ones that when we see a teammate lock it in, we're like, that person probably going to hard carry. So Seth, I'm going to hand it over to you first. Let me know who is your number 1 pick for Lord portraits you trust the most.
I've got him picked out already. His name is Dr. Stephen Strange. I feel
Mm.
like I don't know exactly why. I haven't looked into his setup too much, but I have thought about it because I know people that have played a shit ton of Strange, and they aren't lords, right? And you would expect them to be. So that's one of those that I see in a lot. Like it's very rare that I feel like I see them, and when I do, I'm just like, hell yeah, I know it's about to be on. I can't recall any particular games where I've been let down by Lord Strange.
It's a good pick. I think I'm going to go with Loki.
Okay.
Um, Loki's all about good cooldown management. He's all about knowing who to replicate when you have your ult up and stuff like that. And I've played with too many Lokis who don't even use their ult, which is crazy to me.
hmm
But
hmm
yeah, I see a Loki lock in with that Lord portrait, and I'm like, we're probably gonna win this game, or at least that Loki's gonna do a lot of damage and he's gonna do a lot of healing. So I'm going Loki with my first pick.
Yeah. I feel like he takes some patience to play and to kind of get the hang of. And if somebody's put in the time to get Lord with him, it's probably because they're good at their job. They know how to
Mm-hmm.
manage those cooldowns, like you mentioned. So I'm on board with that.
All right, who's your second pick?
Second, I'm still kind of struggling with. I want to go. I'm gonna say Hulk. Kind of keep in the tank vein as well. I feel like I see more Lord Hulks than Stranges, but again, it's one of those. I feel like they're kind of few and far between still, and so I think part of that's where he kind of had a crappy run. And was it season 1.5? I think that they nerfed him, and he was like the least picked character
Mm-hmm.
for a good while. So that may be a part of it, but the people that have it, they've clearly stuck with them, and they've kind of taken the time to master him. So I'm gonna go Hulk.
I'm gonna go Thing, and I think I'm gonna go Thing for a very similar kind of a reason, where it's just Thing takes a lot of patience to get good at, and I think those first few times you try to play Thing, you're just a giant ass hitbox and damage sponge, and you die a lot to start, and but a good Thing knows how to use his little damage reduction jump. He knows when to get in and out of fights, gets a lot of value out of his ults. And if I see that little cheeky grin on that Lord portrait popping up,
I
he's
love it.
about
I
to.
love having that. Just love it, and now I get to see it even more because it's on the character select screen, right? So
Oh yeah,
that's a big hell yeah for me. Yeah, I agree with 100%. I feel like tanks are easy with that because nobody wants to with this kind of draft because
yeah, that's
nobody plays
true.
tanks. All right, my turn,
Yep.
or is it two? Okay,
Yeah, go
three.
for it.
Last. This is the last one, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Final
gonna go
pick.
Wolverine.
Oh, you took mine. That was going to be mine.
I gotcha. I got him. Yeah, he's one of those characters too. Like I feel like to get that lordship, you've gotta be patient, put the time and the work in. He he's really easy. Like he's a tank buster. He's really easy to get kills with in a lot of ways. His ult takes some nuance to really get like you kind of in order to be really successful with his ult, you kind of have to use it not in the way that it's intended. Like you kind of have to use it away from like you kind of like ignore part of its function. Like you kind of ignore the lifting people up part of it, and you kind of just use it as a dive measure almost. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some of that kind of thing I think plays into why I'd go Wolverine. Like, he's really easy to die as well, I think. So yeah, the people that have done that, they clearly have the patience they've put in the work. That's my rationale.
I think I'm going to go with a DPS for my final pick as well. I think I'm going to go Psylocke. Um,
Hmm. I feel like I never see Lord Psylocke's.
I think that's one of the reasons I'm saying it is because I don't see it a lot. I think of the dive characters, I think she's the hardest to master. I think that for a lot of the dive characters, when I'm thinking about Star-Lord, when I'm thinking about Magic, like the main job you're trying to do as those characters is just like farm your ult and then get utility out of your ult. Whereas with Psylocke, I feel like you're truly an assassin, where like you're getting in, you're using your cooldowns to like get a valuable pick and get out. And so if I see a Psylocke Lord, I feel like they really understand their yeah, if I see a Lord Psylocke, I feel like they understand their role in terms of like initiating the fight and aren't just like farming up ult and hoping to pop off with like a 4K. I don't even know what her ult is called. I was going to say a 4K with her ult name, but I
It's
couldn't tell you what it
Genji.
is.
It's just call it Gen. What was Genji's ult called? Not Genji. Was it Genji?
Genji had Dragon Blade, but
Okay. I feel like it's kind of like, well, I guess it's just running around with a big giant blade. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So, all right. Let us know in the comments who your most trusted Lord portraits are, and we might react to some of you guys's in the show next week. All right, Seth, you ready to talk about some news?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll kick off our news section with the same way we kick off all of our news sections, which is with the brand new skins for this week. We've got the Wolverine Weapon X skin and the Jeff the Landshark Sunshine Landshark skin coming out. This Wolverine skin is badass.
I love this, and I know people have been waiting for this for so long. Like this, I will probably be buying this at some point. I don't think it's not like top of my list right now, just because he's somebody I played a fair amount of him in some quick play at some point. He's not really a comp go to for me, but this is awesome. Like this just makes me want to play him, which I think is half the reason that they're putting it in the game, right? He just top notch. The emotes that they showed off, I've seen in a video or two. Again, same kind of thing. Awesome. Like they're themed, catered specifically to this skin, and kind of like some of the backstory that goes along with the skin. This is a hell yeah for me. I'm not as crazy about the Jeff. I'm not really in love with any of Jeff's skins that I've seen so far. Uh, Except maybe the dolphin one, but I feel like they just gave him a lay and called it a day. I guess he's got kind of like a little beachy shirt on, but
Yeah, he's got a
it's kind of hard to
Hawaiian
tell.
shirt and little hat with a rubber ducky and stuff on it. But
Maybe seeing it. I don't think they've really released a great shot of it, other than just
um, I think
that
I saw
portrait.
one.
Right?
Let me see if I can find it. I think I saw one on the Marvel Rivals leaks site.
Okay.
Let me see if I can go to the subreddit and find it for you. I'll try to post it up. Again, I'm not like a huge lore guy, but the Weapon X skin, have there been like multiple arcs of Wolverine being like either used or developed as a weapon? Because I feel like in this arc I just read, or I've been reading in the Marvel comics, this has kind of come up with Omega Red
Mm-hmm.
having to like recapture Wolverine for this like organization that was like doing experiments on him as a weapon, and then like Omega Red is the second evolution of this weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty critical part of his backstory. And I'm not like a huge Wolverine expert by any means. I don't know that I've necessarily read like the arc that this particular skin comes from, but yeah, I think most or a lot of pretty much like the canonical version of his backstory is kind of like a version of what was in like the Origins movie. If you ever watched that one, the one with Hugh Jackman
Mm-hmm.
back in the day,
Yeah.
I think we were in high school when that came out, which is wild. But so yeah, like the idea that he's kind of made as this weapon, either to be kind of used by the military or other kinds of groups or organizations. And that's kind of why this thing was done to him, because he was a mutant beforehand. Um, but they kind of like just upped the ante with the adamantium ante when they turned him into this just monster of a dude.
I dropped a link to the full image of the Jeff skin in the show notes. It's below the other link to the skins. You can kind of
Okay.
see he's got some flip flop action going on here. He's got a little,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's got
I
a
like
little.
that a little bit. I like that a little bit more. Is that an official image that we've seen somewhere, or is that
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a render from. There's a subreddit for Marvel leaks where they like data mine the game. So this is
gotcha?
from the game.
Gotcha.
It just hasn't been released yet. So yeah, I
I
mean,
like it.
yeah, I feel like everything with Jeff is just to sell some toys. Like
Yeah.
they're just gonna turn all these into some one of those like U2s or whatever they're called, or like a pop figure.
They've started. Well, we've talked about it. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. I've got those first 3 pop figures, baby. I'm not even a pop guy, but I'm ready for it. I was either ready for if they. I want them to start doing legends. I want them to start doing or do more of the pops. I'm all in.
Is it just the three as of right now? Do you have them all?
Well, I think there's a fourth one. Yeah, I have the 3. So the 3 you can kind of easily get right now are Iron Man, Doctor Doom, which is kind of a weird pick, I feel like, but it goes with the lore of the game.
Mhm.
And he's got like his little Cornovium ball, and then Magneto. Apparently, I think just GameStop, or maybe it's like it's limited to certain venues, if not just GameStop. But there's also a Galacta apparently,
Okay, I
which is
thought I
really
had
cool.
seen a Galacta one.
Yeah, I saw her somewhere and I thought she was a fake, but then I finally saw her like on the actual GameStop website, and so I think that's what convinced me.
All right,
I'll be getting her too.
well, just got to venture into a GameStop. I haven't been in a GameStop in ages, so
You're a digital man.
I'm a digital man. They sell like baseball cards and shit in there now.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think ours back home. Well, not yours anymore, but home is home. I don't think they have really forayed too far into that. They might have a few behind the counter or something like that, but I'm not seeing. I don't know if other GameStops have display cases full of them or anything, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's not like a big prominent feature of ours right now.
In due time, my friend.
Indubitably.
All right, let's move on. Talk about some patch notes coming to the game on the 6th. Biggest thing is Ultron's Battle Matrix Protocol, which is the auto chess game we talked about a little bit last week, will finally be live, along with some new rewards that will be exclusive to this mode. And we'll let me pull that image up right now, actually, because yeah, have we seen mode specific rewards yet? They haven't done this before, have they?
I don't think so. No, this is, and I know exactly why they're doing this. It's for people like me that have zero interest really in doing it. But I mean, I'm going to try it just so I can get the loot. You know what I mean?
Where
So
does this move your interest level now? Like you were at
it's
it
still.
from a 0 to 10, like on a scale of 0 to 10. Where are you now?
I mean, I was at 0. I think I might be at like a 2 right now, 2 or 3. I mean, it's enough for me to do it, but it's not really enough for me to like be happy about doing it now. But I mean, this is why they do it, right? Like, I'm sure that it's addictive in some way. I'm sure that it's fun. People like it's a thing for a reason, right? So I'm totally confident that it could get its hooks in me and it could become a part of my
Oh,
daily play in
I
some
know
way.
it's going to get its hooks in you. You know
Okay.
why I know it's going to get its hooks in you?
What at?
Because this is the perfect game to sit on your PlayStation Portal and play.
Mm,
You know,
yeah, you know
like
me well.
because it's just like the perfect kind of turn something on while you do this other thing, kind of game mode. Kind of just keeps you in the Marvel Rivals universe while not having the pressure of like having to stare at the screen all the time. That's what I loved about playing TFT all as much as until I got like in the sweaty ranks when you're like having to fucking know when to like roll down and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the auto battler, you just kind of set your team and then you can look at the screen while they fight it out and then you win and then you go on to the in between stage where you have to do stuff like very low key, low pressure. So I know it's going to get its hooks in you. So I'm very glad that they put these rewards in the game to force you to play. Because I also know you, and there's not a reward track that's free that's not going to pull you in.
Hmm. Hmm.
You
Yeah,
seem
and that's
disappointed at this prospect.
no, I mean, well, it is what it is. I'm a sucker for a lot of things, so but that's why they're doing it exactly. So just because to kind of get those people who are not interested at all, and again to kind of get their hooks in them, their fish hooks, whatever you want to call them. So I am, uh, we'll see, waiting with bated breaths.
Yeah. So here's the reward track. I've got that pulled up on the screen. It's linked, last link in the news there for you, Seth. But
Mhm.
complete matches and earn points for a spray and emojis. So you get awesome rewards upon completing 3 and 10 matches, and then you earn points while you play, and that unlocks another reward as well. So I like that it's not tied to like you got to win matches or you got to run this certain composition or do this certain thing in the game. Like just get in there, try it out, put the time in, get out. Like if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But I think auto battlers are one of those things that when you see it, you don't get it, but then when you play it, you're like, shit, this is
Yeah,
awesome.
so that's my thing is I just haven't played it, and it's because all those reasons. It's just not really my genre, or at least doesn't look appealing. But yeah, I know, like cigarettes don't look appealing either, right? They smell gross, they look weird, but when you smoke one, I've been
Let me
off
tell you,
cigarettes for a
kids.
long time. I've been children. Let me tell you something right now. It's terrible for your health. You should not smoke cigarettes, but and I don't. But it's been, it's you miss them when they're gone.
I'm excited about it though. I'm definitely going to play. It is only going to be available between June 6th and June 23rd, but have to imagine that if it's something that is successful, they're going to bring it back. I'm also just kind of interested in what this means for other kinds of like experimental game modes that they're going to bring to the game. Like they've got to have other stuff planned and in the pipeline, and the fact that this isn't just like we're going to make characters' heads bigger, or we're gonna put 6 characters all same, like everybody's the same character on the field or something like that. Like this is an endeavor to have to go in and like make this, figure out how to balance it. Like an auto battler plays very very different than a 6v6 hero shooter. So
Mhm.
the 23rd is definitely not going to be the end of this mode. It's going to be interesting to see how often they bring this back and then how much more they're going to be experimenting with different modes. Are there other like kinds of games that you hope they bring in? Do you want to see a Marvel Rivals battle royale?
Not that, but
Yeah, like it's not
I mean,
2016 anymore.
once they get that roster filled out, like I don't know. Now that I would have never, I haven't thought about it until now. But when we get that roster like 100 deep, and you've got some real variety to the characters, I don't know. That could actually be badass in some ways. I don't. They'd have to rework it a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't know that with the hero shooter abilities, it would still be super fun. But I mean, I'm sure they could figure something out. Um, I don't know. Like this is weird, and it may just be like the only thing that's coming to my mind. I'm thinking about like, how there have been like some Splatoon offshoots, things kind of similar to that.
Mhm.
Somebody else came out with one a little while ago that looked cool, didn't really do great. I feel like something like that, kind of modes, like kind of like turf war things, might be fun to play. Well, actually, never mind. They've done that. They did that with Jeff back in the seasonal event back around Christmas time, where you kind of sprayed territory and froze it or whatever. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, never mind.
They could do like a sort of third person like MOBA-esque kind of thing, like a Paladins or Smite kind of thing, if they wanted
Yeah,
to try something like that, or like a um some sort of like dungeon crawler where you put a team comp together and then you have to fight different leveling bosses or something like that could be cool. Like,
kind of like Overwatch. Well, they did something. I don't know if you'd call it a dungeon crawler, but their kind of PVE modes they came out with from here and there. Is that
mhm.
kind of what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, like the Junkerstein, whatever it was called.
Yeah, the Halloween one.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, there's no. I'm down for whatever. I'm here along. I'm around for whatever. I'm totally down. Just give me the stuff, NetEase, and I will do the stuff.
The new skins are coming to the game also on the 6th, and then a limited time login reward, the tic-tac-toe spray. Log in during the event period to claim your exclusive tic-tac-toe spray. Challenge your friend to a game of wits and strategy in the spawn room or the heat of battle, and you can claim that reward between June 5th and June 12th. Okay. And then yeah, just some optimizations and a few fixes. Obviously, no balance changes here this soon following the patch, but you can download that update on the 6th. And we will have our early thoughts on Ultron's Battle Matrix Protocol next week on the show. All right, Seth, you ready to move on to our topic of the day?
Yeah, brother.
All right. We are now few days into season 2.5, so I think we have played a considerable number of games in this season and can start to give our early thoughts on this season as it stands right now. We have not played ranked yet, but everything else we've kind of tried out. So, Seth, where do you want to start with this conversation? What kind of strikes your fancy as a good jumping off point?
I don't know. Let's just we can go bullet by bullet if you want. Just kind of work our way down. I don't know that there's necessarily a great order that's better than another. So just kind of like impressions in general about the new introductions, some of the changes, this the odds and ends that we mentioned after they announced them last week.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Well, let's start with Ultron then. New character, new strategist, flying strategist, whole new kind of style of character to the game. How many games have you played as Ultron, would you say?
I think I've only done probably like 3 so far. Probably those first, like the first night, 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 maybe matches with you. I struggled with him at first. I definitely, I didn't master him in 3 or 4 matches by any means, but it kind of takes some feeling out. He definitely feels different as a support, as a strategist to play, and there's a different kind of mindset that you have to get behind with him. I've seen a lot of people do great things with him so far. I've been pretty impressed with what other people did. At first, I wasn't really impressed with what I was able to do, but I definitely see potential there. I still don't know, kind of like we said last week, I don't know that he's the most viable like in a 2-2-2 comp, but I definitely do see a lot of value in him in like a triple support
Mm-hmm.
composition or something like that. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm happy with him so far. I'm not in love with him, but that's fine. I've got other stuff to make up. I've got plenty of guys to play right now.
He's not oppressive. That's all I'm going to say. Like, and that was the thing I was
No,
most worried
no,
about.
no.
Like,
Mhm.
I was worried flying strategist was going to be insanely oppressive to play against, and but he feels really balanced. And I've probably played 9 or 10 games as him, and I think his healing output feels really good in specific situations where your team is kind of grouped together and understands to kind of play around uh, the drone to get healing. He's a character that feels completely different with his Iron Man team up and the ability to kind of use that upgraded beam to do healing, despite the fact it's on like what a 25-second cooldown, 20-25-second cooldown, whatever.
Yeah, but it also lasts. Like it has a pretty
Yeah.
good length. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say he's not worthwhile to play without that team up, but that team up makes it, hard to pass up when you have like if you see an Iron Man, it makes that Ultron support pick a lot better looking.
Mhm.
So yeah, all around, I'm pretty pleased.
Yeah, and I think it took me a little bit to kind of figure out, and not that I mean 10 games, you still haven't figured it out, right? But I think when I first played him, my thought was the I'm just going to put the drone on the flyers and kind of stick around them. But
Hmm.
I found myself where I'm putting the drone more so on the tanks and kind of juggling it to the flyers as needed, right? That way I can kind of keep the tanks topped off as much as possible. Um, so yeah, very different playstyle than I was even thinking after seeing his kit and kind of seeing the character intro video and stuff like that. ult charge is insane though, dude. Like I feel like he gets his ult every single fight.
Yeah, yeah, and but again, it's not really an oppressive ult either. Like it does damage on the other team. It's not like a ton of damage. It's pretty much Moira's ult from Overwatch. Like you're just shooting a big beam, it heals and it hurts. So, but it's not like I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily like a game changer in a fight necessarily. But it's enough to do something. It supports. It does what it needs to do.
I think I'm trying to still figure out like when the best time to use it is because you can't really pop it like in response to an offensive ult because it takes so much time to kind of charge up to get the healing output out of it. I was playing around like in the practice range with the timing for it, and uh, yeah, like I would try to pop it when like the big tank bot was at like half health taking damage, and he would die by that bot would die before like I was done with my animation to
Mhm.
get the ult out and stuff like that. So
It's great in a choke, I feel like.
yeah,
Like when you're in or, that whole map on Arakko that we'll talk about here in just a minute. I feel like that's designed around Ultron's ult in a lot of ways.
hmm yeah, yeah. So I think it is you should be used a lot more like offensively, and in that way, I think it feels a little more like Hella, right? Where it's like you get kind of a few shots of big burst damage where if you kind of can find a squishy, you can maybe get an elimination here and there with it, but for the most part you're just trying to kind of deny space with it and be more of just like that aerial threat that people have to turn and look at when they hear your ult line.
Mhm.
But I feel like he's in a pretty good spot. I'm really looking forward to tuning into um fight night on Thursday to see
Oh, yeah.
if he's played. I don't know if he's gonna get played that much, but we'll see. You mentioned Arakko, the new map. Um,
I'm still torn. We finally got a win. It took a little while,
mhm.
on that map,
We
but,
finally saw the whole damn thing.
yeah, it is definitely it seems geared toward
Yeah,
defensive
for sure.
teams. I mean, the whole thing is just one big choke. Like, there's not really a lot of sideline. Like, they're flank paths, I guess, in some ways, but they're limited. They're also like drop offs on the other side of some of those, so like you can just kind of fall to your death if you're not being careful at any given moment. So it's almost like they're disincentivized to use them. Um, I don't know. Like it could be cool. It kind of just maybe takes like it may just need kind of like a mindset shift to kind of figure out a different way of playing it. It's unique and I definitely like it. Like you kind of have to fight just balls to the wall the whole time. Like from moment one of the map. But it looks different, it feels different. It's I think it's a welcome change. I'm just not in love with it when I'm playing offensively.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a matter of just like not knowing the map that well as of right now, but I don't feel like point one of Midtown has that same sort of kind of like choky feel to it, but
Mhm.
there's really clear flank paths to take your team through, whereas I don't feel like those are as clear in Arakko. But we played like 4 matches before we even saw a team cap the first point, right? Like I,
Mhm.
I logged on with you guys the next day and it was news that I played a game where I like actually finished the map because you're
Yeah,
right. It's
I finally
so
saw the end.
yeah, it's so defensively oriented. I also just think it like from a visual perspective, it's really hard to I don't know. There's not a lot of visual distinction between areas. I tend to get lost when I'm kind of walking back from spawn.
Yeah, yeah, I had a few games playing Jeff yesterday where I'm swimming around trying to find the team, and if I wasn't like if I'm trying to catch up to everybody after a death, I got lost, and then people were in the back line, that I guess maybe knew the map a little bit better than did, and they would just find me and get me on my way. It happened like 3 or 4 times before I finally figured out, okay, here's a path I can take to get there that they haven't found yet, or that they're at least not around currently. So yeah, it might just take, like, it's some getting used to, kinda learning around, but it is very samey. It does feel, again, everything's kind of so tight and claustrophobic. There's a lot of metal and rock involved, and that's fine. It's just again like it all kind of looks and blends together in a lot of ways.
I also just need to get into a custom game and figure out where all the teleporters take you because I still have no fucking clue where those things drop you off. So
Yeah, I played around with one of them the other day, but I didn't realize that there's more than one so far. Or is there more than one
that's a great
set?
question.
I think that's kind of that plays into the flank path on the way to the first checkpoint or something like that. But I don't know about the other places.
I'm pretty sure there's at least two. I know there's one on the first point, and I think there's at least another one on the third point, but I'm not sure. But yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the teleporters, like being a part of. Like, I think it's a cool thing on like Eternal Night.
Krakoa.
No,
Okay.
yeah, the other season 2 map.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where it's just like a funny, not funny, but like a unique kind of spawn mechanic or whatever. But like when it's in the middle of a map and it's like, I feel like I need to log on and get in a custom match and kind of like not have people shooting at me to figure out how the map works. Like, feels like weird design, but it's just going to take some time to get used to. I one of the things I think that Rivals has done well in the past, and I think Overwatch has always done really well, is just like the map makes a lot of sense when you jump in. Like, you don't have to like do a tour of it before you play it. You can just kind of jump in and understand it. Um,
Yeah.
and like the little nuances of it will make themselves known as you play. But yeah, the teleporters feel kind of strange to have to figure out mid fight. We also did not get a ranked reset, Seth. We all are the same rank we were at the end of
Mhm.
season 2.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I think you were kind of expecting one, right?
I was expecting a soft reset, like a 3 tier, 4 tier.
Yeah, yeah, not as huge as the end of season one, but or 1.5. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect it, mainly just because they never said anything about it. So I was gonna be shocked if they did after all the announcements, the week before. So I'm happy with it. I haven't played as much ranked as I would like to. I think I've only progressed like a level from where I dropped after the season two reset. So I'm pleased. I kind of had the same attitude going into 1.5 because I was in the hospital for a little bit during the start of season one, so I didn't like get a lot of time to play that first half, and that's just totally a personal thing for me. Like I understand that there are some good solid reasons for why to have some kind of a setback or reset halfway through the season, but it just works out for me, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, if this means we're going to get another, what was it, like 9 tier reset or whatever, I don't know how much I feel about. Like, I think I'd rather have two smaller resets than one just like gigantic one that's gonna, if you don't make it past like Diamond 2 or whatever, you're gonna just get sent back to the Shadow Realm every season.
Yeah, that is a hard drop. I can definitely get that.
But I have to think, if we're getting seasons every 2 months or something like that, they'll probably soften the resets
Sure.
from the 9 tier thing as well. So we'll see. Um, we touched a little bit on Jeff, and we can talk a little bit more about that, but we didn't touch as much on Thor. And you're more of a Thor player anyway. How's the Thor rework feel now that it's live?
I love it. I mean, he was awesome in a lot of ways beforehand. I feel like he's just so much faster now in a lot of ways. Like I can I'm doing at least twice as much with his Thor force and throw. I forget the ability name. I should know it by now, but whatever. Where you're throwing those big lightning softballs at people. That kind of like his main ranged move. I'm doing work with that. And if you time it right with your hammer throw, you can just pop that off again and again and again almost as long as you're getting the hit. And if you're using that on your tank, it's pretty easy to get that hit. So yeah, I'm very pleased with Thor right now. I've been playing him a little bit more even than I was before in this past week. So I'm all aboard. Choo choo.
Now, did that rework change his style at all, or did it just kind of like solidify the style and make it more kind of
It kind
accessible?
of I feel like it kind of perfected the style in some ways because I mean, people that play solid Thors, like you can be really mobile with him. You can kind of use him to get into the back line. He's got kind of a quick escape that he can use with his hammer as long as you're timing your cooldowns well. This kind of makes him more of a fighting force in a lot of ways. I think like you can. Again, that's I would argue probably other than just his primary attack, just swinging the hammer around. I think that is kind of like his biggest damage doer. Like you can melt tanks with that. I use it anytime I'm going up against like a Hulk or a Penny or somebody. Like if I just want to take chunks out of their health, I'm going to get right in their face and then just lob those big lightning balls at them. And so now, before you would just have to kind of do that and then swing your hammer. You kind of get close in order to recharge your Thor force faster. Now you don't even have to really do that. You just kind of you use it, boom, boom, boom. Maybe hit your left bumper or whatever the button on your keyboard is to kind of accelerate your Thor force redemption, and then throw that hammer. You're gonna have it within seconds, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds tops. So it's good stuff. I think he's a force to be reckoned with now if you're playing him well.
Nice. Um, One of the main things I'm really interested in getting back into ranks is just seeing like the presence of a Thor and also the presence of like Jeff, right?
Mhm.
Like, are we going to see more Jeffs in ranked? Are we going to see better win rates for Jeffs and Thors in ranked as well? I think we are for both of those characters, based off of what you're
Oh
saying
yeah.
about Thor and based off of what I've seen about seen with Jeff in game.
I think all in all, this is a great, and this we can kind of use this to segue into balance changes just in general. To just kind of how we spoke with whoever in the comments earlier about like Black Widow. Just the fact that she's the most viable she's been since the game launched. Not that she necessarily is viable, but if you're great at hit scan, this is the best that she's been. This has been a great reset, I think, or a great update, just because it's kind of changed a lot of the ebb and flow of the game on like the minute to minute or like match to match play. So I'm just kind of pleased across the board with everything. I think this is a great like refresher. It's keeps the game from feeling stale. I just love, and I know I've mentioned it before, but I feel like they're just knocking it out of the park with keeping the game dynamic. That's probably not everybody's cup of tea, but like it keeps it fresh and it keeps you constantly on your toes, trying to learn new metas. And again, like it's not like you're stuck with goats for years, right? You're constantly having to adapt and change your metas. It's great.
Yeah, and that's the design key to these kinds of a game. Is like you have to have seasons where certain characters are strong, and then the next season you have to replace those characters with other characters that are strong. And the dream scenario is that all characters are perfectly balanced and everybody feels great at all given times. But as the game grows and becomes more complex and more characters are added, like it's just not the way that these games work. And you're going to have to do targeted buffs, targeted nerfs to get people in and out of the metas. And I think we're seeing that with Jeff. I think we saw that with Thor. I think uh, we're going to see more of that as we move forward into these quicker seasons as well. And I think having those quicker seasons is a big reason that I mean, having those quicker seasons is going to help in making players not feel as alienated when their characters get kind of the nerf hammer, because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that it's gonna come back around. I remember when when League, I wasn't like ever a big League player, but I was really big into watching Pro League, and League shifted the way that they did their patches, and their whole thing was like they made that their philosophy as well. Like we're not trying to balance the game in that every character is viable at all given times. There's 150 characters in this game. It's not possible. But we are going to make sure that we're going to try to give every character like their time in the light, and we're going to patch the game aggressively as often as possible. Now, were they successful at that? That's debatable, right? But I think it's a good philosophy, and I think it's the philosophy that Rivals is trying to get to. And it's like we can break the game for a month, maybe, with a patch, that nerfs this person too much or buffs this person too much. And we've also seen their willingness to say, like, oh shit, the Captain America survivability stuff at the beginning of season 2, too much. We're going to come in, we're going to give him a quick, like, hot fix to bump his survivability down. So as long as they're willing to do that sort of stuff, I'm totally fine with them moving people in and out of the metas kind of artificially.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Are there characters that you have been like, I did not expect to see as much of that, or I expected to see more of them than I've actually been seeing?
No, I don't think so. I think we called a lot of it just between, like, Jeff and Thor last time. I don't think I've seen a ton of, like, again, other than just seeing more Black Widows around. Nothing has really changed all that much. I've definitely been seeing more Storm than I expected
I was going to say
to.
that too, and I don't feel like they did a whole lot to her.
Not a ton, no, but I think just kind of like the fact that she's got that Jeff NATO thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest metas that I've seen lately, just kind of pasted around social media, is like Penny is your tank, having like a rocket with who does he go with? Oh my God, Rocket and Rocket and Penny, right?
Yeah, Rocket and Penny have the team up.
Then Iron Man, Ultron, and Storm in there also. Like, so you've kind of got like multiple team ups that are all kind of like just kicking the shit out of dives. It's pretty cool. Like, again, maybe Penny's another one that I could say too. Like, I've never not really seen Penny. I think she kind of disappeared a little bit at the beginning of season 2, but I'm definitely seeing a lot more of her now that she's got that rocket pairing.
Yeah, and I'm not as annoyed with it as I thought I was going to be.
And maybe people haven't figured out how to use it yet, but I doubt that's necessarily the case, even just like a week after. So I think that, again, NetEase has done a pretty great job of releasing kind of a pretty well balanced patch to the game, season 2.5.
I feel like they also did whether or not it's what they should have done, I feel like they were successful at kind of killing off a lot of the dive, like not seeing as much Iron Fist, not seeing as much like Star-Lord, not even seeing as much like Spider-Man even.
I was about to say, like, I've definitely still seen Spider-Man, but it's nowhere near as much as I was. Like, I'm not still seeing as many Lord Spider-Mans going 0-3 in a match as I was pre 2.5.
Yeah, the Star-Lord one definitely, like the Star-Lord nerfs were definitely like, because his whole play style was like just gonna kind of stand with the team, farm my ult, and then just have an ult every other fight and kill the entire team. And now with like the fact that it takes a lot longer to charge his ult, I feel like we're seeing a lot less of him too. And then I feel like other than that, there hasn't really been a whole lot. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of Venom, which is someone I expected to maybe see a little bit more of with the Jeff team up, but I feel like most of the Jeff stuff has been the Jeff Storm kind of thing.
Yeah, that water tornado just looks nice. Puts the asses in the seats.
It also lasts forever, which I guess you're investing 2 ults into it, so it makes sense. But yeah. And then the final thing is just the combat chest, which we kind of touched on earlier, which I hope this is something that they just are bringing kind of for half seasons. That's my hope.
Yeah, I don't want to see it all the time. Again, like I said earlier, I could definitely be swayed into buying one every week or two, but I think one paired with other events, kind of like they're doing right now with like the second gala event. It keeps you busy, keeps you invested, keeps you coming back for more. So I don't want them to do it to death. I think this is like you said, every half season will be a nice pace to put out something like this, a little something extra, kind of like the pickup bundle or whatever it was called with the orange Venom and the twerking. That's my style. That's my speed.
So, all right, let's break this down for a second. So we've got currently running. We've got our season pass. We've got our Hawkeye skin event. We've got the combat chest. We're about to have, starting on Friday, the Ultron Battle Matrix Protocol thing. Do we have anything else?
There's also, I think currently they've got Twitch drops
Yeah,
for Crystal Mommy for
yeah, they got the Twitch drops.
yeah, and
They got the PlayStation tournament.
Yeah, I always forget about those. And then the tic-tac-toe spray? Did you mention that
Oh
already?
yeah, the tic tac toe spray, login spray.
So I mean, there's a lot. There's something there, I think, for everybody. I don't think people necessarily care as much about sprays a lot of the time, but I mean, I'm gonna be logging in to get that spray just to have it in my repertoire, have it in the bank. So, I mean, they're knocking it out of the park. Like I don't see how it's sustainable to keep a pace like that. But I guess that the Marvel universe and the spread of human creativity is strong enough to keep coming up with this kind of thing for ad infinitum.
Well, I was reading an article from back in January where they were like, we have season 2 built out, we have season 3 built out, and we already have season 4 and 5 planned. So it's like they've got the content, right? And like they've already
Mhm.
got the frameworks built for a lot of it. So it seems like they're working obviously months and months ahead of time, but um,
As you would hope, right?
as you would hope, yeah.
Mhm.
But I do like that they have these little kind of stopgap things for the completionists among the community who like have everything, and they're like, not. I mean, I haven't finished my battle pass or anything like that, but just
Yeah.
having those little things to progress, and especially when you're introducing these new kind of systems into the game with like the emotes and the mood system and that sort of thing, where it's like we're not just dropping this in and saying, hey, you can buy these in the store for $2.99 a pack or whatever, but like, hey, we're going to give you like the means to unlock some of these things for free too. I think is really nice as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
um but yeah, there's some mojo about season 2.5 that has its hooks back in me, and I'm all for it. I think part of it is also just I have a lot less pressure on myself to like jump into ranked. Like I'm just fine to hop on and play quick play and have my fun and not feel bad about that. Like
Yeah, 100. And again, like it kind of helps that Larry's been playing with us the last few days because he can't play ranked with us. He's a PC player exclusively, so
mhm.
we can't. If we're gonna play with him and not feel guilty, then we've got to log into quick play. And I mean, it's just fun, like running train on people in quick play a lot of the time. Like if you've got two or three people together, it's a lot of the time you've got the communication going where you're going to knock it out of the park. So I'm down for it. I've had that's a big part of I think why I've been having even more fun the last few days.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, that's going to do it for episode 15 of Rival Banter. So we're about to get out of here. But Seth, before we do that, what are you going to get up to in the game this week?
Um, I think I'm gonna be out of town for a couple of days, so I don't know how much I'll be playing comparatively this upcoming week, but definitely knocking my challenges out. I definitely want to at least get uh, a few more comp matches in before I start losing my tokens, whatever they're called now. They've kind of like farted out of my brain since then. My
Oh yeah,
chrono
the Chrono cards.
Chrono Shield token, Chrono cards, yeah. So yeah, definitely need to use those or see how long I can keep them for. But you got to play comp to do that. So definitely want to get back in, just mess around. I keep seeing my kids from school; they're making their way up into like Diamond 3 now, and it's making me a little bit jelly. But I don't. My goals aren't quite as lofty as they were season 1, season 1.5.
Yeah, I definitely want to play some rank too, but I'm really excited about this Ultron's Battle Matrix protocol. So definitely going to try that out this weekend. And yeah, I'll probably end up finishing my combat chest, getting that cool Magneto skin. Not sure if I'm going to use that skin though over my classic.
That's the thing. I really want a feature I've probably mentioned before, but I would really love to have. Apex, I don't know if you remember Apex Legends has this, or at least they did at some point. I think it was a feature where you could rotate or like select random gun skins, or it may even have been like
Ah,
character skins that you could have. So you didn't really have to choose. You could just kind of like you just play and it kind of cycles through either all your skins or like you kind of could select favorites, something like that, so where it would cycle through them. So I would love to have a feature like that in this game to where you kind of don't have to choose, like just it kind of celebrates all the cool crap that you could have. So NetEase, if you're out there, if you're listening, or you people out there in social media, just try shooting that out there, putting it out there into the ether. Let's get random skin selection implemented
yeah, I
in
love
the
that
future.
idea. Or like ranked choice uh skin selection where it's like, here's my favorite skin, my second favorite, and then it's like
Okay.
okay, well, 60% of the time you'll get this, and 30%, then 10% you'll get these.
Yeah.
It'll rotate.
Yeah. I love it.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you tuning in, checking us out for episode 15 of Rival Banter. Let us know your early thoughts on season 2.5. Who have you been playing? What do you think of the new map? What do you think of Ultron? Do you love the Jeffrey work and hate Thor? Vice versa. How far are you in your combat chest? Whatever you're thinking, let us know in the comments, and we might read those out next week on